Hey, beauties! Welcome to a Sacred Space podcast. I'm Katie, your host, and I am so excited to share with you how to create sacred space in order to heal and empower yourself. I want you to know that it is possible to live your dream life, to create amazing relationships, to experience joy daily, to be fully connected to yourself and passionate about life. No matter where you're at right now, it is possible to heal your trauma, your anxiety, and live a life beyond your wildest dreams. In this podcast, I will share with you the tools and resources I've used in order to create my dream life. And if it's possible for me, I know it is for you too. So let's get started. Okay. So I'm here with Elaine Lopez-Bogard. She owns Healing the Womb. And why don't you just go ahead and tell us about what you do, because I think it's super amazing. I want to know all about it.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today. And yes, my work is all centered around healing the womb. So healing the womb from pregnancy and loss. So miscarriage, stillbirth, infant death, abortion, all of those instances can cause trauma to our womb space. And so I help with like healing and releasing any energies, any, it's mostly like just the energy that gets stuck in our womb space. And what I love doing is just helping to create space for another baby, for a pregnancy. It really is all about building the foundation for a conscious conception. And when I talk about conscious conception, what I'm talking about is really, like when we work toward creating and manifesting a goal or a dream or whatever it is, I mean, it is a lot about taking those same steps towards creating a baby, towards bringing in a baby. And so I like to just call it creating a conscious conception, because we're taking the conscious steps to make the space for baby being open to receive. And then also the fun part is I'm a medium, and I help create a conscious connection with the soul of the baby before conception. And that really helps just strengthen the bond even before women conceive. And it's so fun and so magical.
That is, I think that is absolutely amazing and wonderful and so needed, because I know so many women have, can go through like several miscarriages before they're able to have a child, and how painful that can be. So having someone like you it's such a unique and amazing thing that you're able to do that. That's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the statistics are 1 in 4 women experience some type of pregnancy loss. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that it's higher than that, because when I was pregnant with my daughter, in my mom's group, more than half of us, pretty much everyone in the group had a miscarriage.
Wow.
Before.
Yeah.
So the statistics really are high.
Yeah. And probably just a lot of women don't report that, you know what I mean? So there'd be no way to really know how that is. But most women that I know, especially in my family and stuff, all of them had at least one miscarriage before they were able to conceive. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the statistics are pretty high. It does happen quite a bit. Yeah. So why don't you just tell me a little bit, so I know that you work a lot with the limiting thoughts and emotions that play a part in preventing and allowing conception. So why don't you just go into that a little bit and just tell us what kind of limiting beliefs there are, and how that all works.
Sure. So what I find is that because most women have experienced a loss before and they're trying to get pregnant again, there are so many fears just embedded in the body, in the tissue. And so when they're trying to conceive, all of those fears are so loud in their mind that energetically, it really does interfere with making the space for the baby. And so because I'm an energy healer and I can see the unseen, right? I can see energy stuck in people's body. And what I find is a lot of times in the womb space, in the actual like uterus, there are like energetic blocks. And a lot of it is related to grief, fear, and anxiety. And when you look underneath all of that, there's a lot of not trusting their body, not trusting themselves. You know, all of that just kind of, what I find, it impacts like the uterine lining, right? So then if there is a fertilized egg, it's harder to implant because the density of the lining, you know, it's so dense, so it's harder to implant. So energetically, we look at releasing all of those beliefs so that the egg can like float, and it's like a cloud-like lining, and then just have a happy space to implant. So again, it's a lot around fear, anxiety. Primarily, it's not trusting your body, not trusting yourself. You know, there's a lot of shame and grief that comes along with it, and not understanding why this happened, how it happened. And so we just work on releasing that and helping women to feel more confident and to trust their body and to trust this beautiful divine process along the way.
Yeah, that's amazing. And a lot of us don't understand, because it took me a long time to get this, is that like every cell in our body responds to our emotion. So our body is created by the cells, and then those cells are responding to the emotions. So like that makes perfect sense, that if you're like holding fear and grief like in your womb space, then it would like harden that lining to where it wasn't able to receive like the fertilization, or I don't know how it
right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, they say thoughts are things, and it's exactly true, because I can see it energetically. And you know, so we just work on releasing them, and a lot of it is just it's acknowledging it. We just acknowledge it and thank it for the role that it's played in our life to this point, and then choose. You know, a lot of it is instilling new beliefs and choosing. I choose to be free, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to like, because I do a lot of like emotional release work and emotional healing work, that's like a big part of my work. So like for you in that area of because obviously you do a lot of emotional healing and help women heal, like how do you do that? Like what's your like go-to tool, if you have one, around like emotional healing and releasing emotion?
Well, it's interesting. So it's been kind of an evolution of my work. So I first started using like emotion code and EFT, emotional freedom technique, and tapping. And now, because I work at a soul level, I work simply with the other person's soul and with source energy. And we just ask, what is the emotion that needs to be cleared? And a lot of times I channel a new, like a mantra or a word or kind of like homework, whatever the other person's soul needs. And that, like, so energetically it kind of just comes out, like the dense energy from the emotion kind of comes up to be released, and then we kind of push in and enter in a new positive belief to override it.
Gotcha.
So it's all energetic now. It's all just at the soul level, and because working at that level, you know, we can just shift things that way.
Very nice. Love that. That's beautiful. Okay. So and then you talk about like connection with spirit and how that plays a role in conception. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So as a medium, you know, I always like to say, that, you know, a lot of, you hear medium and some people will say, oh, I don't know if you've heard this, but a lot of people will say, oh, people are crossing over the dead people, right, to the other side, to the light. Well, I'm like on the other end of the spectrum, helping the souls transition into this lifetime. And so what I find is there are just, and the way that I see it is almost like there's just these pods of souls waiting to incarnate. And I work with them to come forward. And I feel like in a way I'm like a matchmaker, right? Because, you know, I work with the woman and then I ask, okay, you know, is there a soul that wants to come forward? Sometimes there's already a soul in their field.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just connect with that soul and bring forward any messages, any information that the soul has, that spirit baby has for the woman or the spouse. Sometimes it's siblings. We'll work with siblings also. And just bring forward any information that they might have for the family. And it's really fun and unique. And it's unique because every woman is different. Everybody that I work with is different. So I'll give you an example of some messages that I've received. So, and like I said, it's completely different. So one of my clients, the soul came forward, the baby spirit came forward and said, there's no space for me. She needs to clean. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking, how am I going to tell this lady that she needs to clean? And so I just said, this is what I'm getting. And she says, well, yes, I'm kind of a hoarder. And the baby's right, there's no space. And so I was like, yes, so you need to clean and make space for the baby because otherwise there's no space for him. So that was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So sometimes we get specific ovulation dates,
Mm-hmm.
and that's always fun to get specific ovulation dates. Let's see. Recently with one of my clients, it's been super fun because the spirit baby has been coming forward and he shows up like almost like a crossing guard. And as I do the energy healing, it's like he is directing the energy to go like this way or this way, like to different parts of the woman's body for the energy healing. And that's super fun to watch that spirit baby kind of take control of the energy, you know, knowing that at the spiritual level, he knows what's needed and where it's needed.
Mm-hmm. That's really neat. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that so much. Okay, and then and so I guess you kind of talked about that. So I know you mentioned something about like quantum energy or quantum energy healing, and is that kind of like what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so the name of my program is Quantum Fertility Healing. And I call it Quantum Fertility because that's what we're doing is we are going beyond the known, right? We're going beyond, just beyond what we know, beyond what our physical limitations might be in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
and stepping into this quantum field of infinite possibilities. Because, you know, when we work with energy and when we work with spirit, anything is possible. And so I always tell my clients, you know, it doesn't matter whatever diagnosis you have, as long as you believe.
Yeah.
If you believe it's possible, it is possible, and we can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we work with, going from the finite, right, into the infinite, and helping shift the thoughts, the beliefs, and the body into that space of infinite possibility, because we really do have access to infinite possibility. It's just a matter of being open to believe it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So have you worked with women that like have tried everything like IVF and all the things and then they come to you and you do this process and then they're totally able to get pregnant? Like, do you have an example of that, or just?
I do. So recently, I worked with a client and she was told that she had an 8 to 10% chance of conceiving. And so when we worked together and created this beautiful bond with this spirit baby, and well, now she is holding her baby in her arms, and so she defied the odds. And like I said, anything is possible, and as long as we're open to believe, like, we can create it. And then with the help of spirit is here on our side, ready to help us. And so we just tap into all of that and pull all of that into this space, and we can create magic here.
That is so amazing. That's awesome. So why don't you just tell me, like, what's your website? Where can people find you and learn more about you and your services?
Sure. My website is www.healingthewomb.com, and you can find me on Facebook. It's Elaine Bogard, fertility intuitive and soul midwife. I keep calling myself so many different things because it's kind of hard to describe all that I can do. So I'm like, okay, I'm a fertility intuitive and a soul midwife, because basically that's what I'm doing, is helping the souls come in. So yes, you can find me on Facebook. I feel like Facebook is probably the best place to contact me, and feel free to send me a message. I respond pretty quickly. And I'd love to talk to anybody about where they are in their journey to become a mom, and just help them along the way. And the other thing that I do also is helping women during their pregnancy also. I'm also a kinesiologist, and so I muscle test their body, the physical body, to figure out what they need, because you need to have a strong physical body to hold all the energy work as well. So the program that I have really is a complete holistic program looking at physical, emotional, spiritual, to help women to be strong from conception through pregnancy and even postpartum, the first, like the fourth trimester, because postpartum is such a whirlwind of emotions and hormones. So I extend my work through that process as well.
That's awesome. So you started out with like helping them get pregnant, and then you support them through the whole pregnancy, and then afterwards with the postpartum. Because I know, like, for me, my pregnancy was a surprise. Like, I was told I wasn't gonna be able to get pregnant, and I started taking these herbs for cramps, and they like made me fertile, and I got pregnant, and that's kind of how that happened. But it was divine. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, you know, my child was, you know, meant to be with me at that time. But I wasn't prepared for it at all. It would have been like so good to have somebody like you at the time, because I wasn't, my body wasn't prepared for it, like, at all. And then, like, afterwards, I severely struggled with postpartum and all of that stuff. And then I ended up with Graves' disease, like a thyroid thing, like, you know, probably it started like shortly after I had my child, because that's usually when it starts, but I didn't know about it until about 3 years later, until she was about 3 years old. So, and I used energy work to heal that. But it's so important, because you just don't realize like what your body goes through when you're pregnant and when you have a child, and then what it goes through after you have the child. Like, I just don't think that there's enough information out there about that and enough awareness about that. So it's like the work you're doing is so important to like just support women through the whole process and keep them healthy and aware and all that stuff. I think that is just like awesome. So awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it is so important. And yeah, I'm just here to be the support, because so many different emotions come up. You know, it is a roller coaster ride. And so I'm so grateful to be able to provide that stability throughout the entire cycle from conception to birth for women.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I have another question really quick. So do you notice, like, I know it's unique with like each woman, but do you notice any kind of like common themes or common emotional patterns or limiting beliefs that happen, like, that are like more often than not? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, am I making sense?
So
okay.
I feel like the core is around not trusting my body.
Okay, yeah.
And then if you look a little bit deeper of not trusting my body, it's about safety. Feeling safe for myself and my body and my baby. So it's kind of like a little bit deeper, going deeper into feeling safe, and then creating a safe space and trusting your body. So I feel like that is a lot of the core of what we work with.
Yeah, so definitely like support in the root and sacral chakras, like in those areas. Yeah. That's where we kind of hold those emotions of like insecurity and trust and all of that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to let us know? Anything else or anything?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And again, if anybody has any questions, I'm totally open to talk with anybody. And so just reach out. Feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, please do, because she's amazing and her work is phenomenal. I just love it so much. I'm so excited over it. So, yay, I'm so glad. And we'll have to have you on again. And I'm so happy we did this. Thank you so much, Elaine. This was wonderful.
Sure, thank you.
All right, well, you have a wonderful day. I really appreciate you.
Okay, you too. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
For free resources, ebooks, and other super awesome tools, go to my website, sacredspacewithkatie.com. I also want to remind you to subscribe so you always get the latest episode, and to leave a review so other people can find this podcast too. I super appreciate you tuning in today, and I will catch you in the next episode. Have a beautiful day.